In the mid-1980s, Orion Pictures unleashed a film that falls into a category Roger Ebert referred to as undergraduate slob movies, a venerable genre that was kicked off in 1978 with Animal House. This time, they took undergrads in their mid-30s and sent them to a collegiate whitewater rafting competition, because apparently that's a thing that exists, in the 1984 comedy Up the Creek. Originally marketed as part Animal House and part Porky's because of the cast team-up of Tim Matheson, Stephen Furst, and Dan Monahan, it was more of a who's who among 80s TV and movie actors. You had a little bit of Revenge of the Nerds, a touch of Ghostbusters, add in a dash of Superman the movie, Hill Street Blues, and even Magnum P.I. The story follows 4 students at Lepetamine University, have fun looking that name up in Wikipedia, who despite their unmentioned advanced ages are the 4 worst students in the country in the worst rated college in the country. Lepetamine, also known as Lobotomy U, also has the unfortunate history of never having won a single intercollegiate competition. The school's dean blackmails the 4 to compete, while also offering them degrees in the major of their choice if they win. Armed with a new incentive, the 4 random students, who act like they've known each other for years, head off to the competition. Tim Matheson plays Bob McGraw, their de facto leader, which makes sense because Matheson was the oldest in 1984 at age 36. Bob's a self-assured, self-monologuing, wiseacre/ladies man. Basically a role Bill Murray could have played in his sleep, but though 3 years younger than Matheson, he looked a little older. He's joined by Gonzer, played by Stephen Furst, an animalistic slob that comes across as an homage to their late Animal House co-star John Belushi. Dan Monahan, as their compatriot Max, seems to be playing the same unlucky-in-love character from the Hip. While History of the World Part 1 Sandy Helberg rounds out the group as the nerdy, drunken, lush Irwin. Once they arrive, their competition makes themselves known right away. There's IVU, the clearly Ivy League trust funders who are willing to use high-tech drones, torpedoes, bombs, and blades to cheat their way to the finish line. Also in their way are the disqualified reigning champions of the Washington Military Institute, led by the increasingly unhinged Captain Braverman. And finally, there's a boat filled with women from some unnamed university. There are many other competitors, but they're never really given any character arcs or screen time, as it really boils down to the slobs versus snobs. In its time, Up the Creek was mildly popular. It grossed almost $12 million on a $7 million budget, and it received repeated airplay on HBO. Despite a soundtrack that included Heart, the Beach Boys, and a banger theme song by Cheap Trick, the record only made it to 185 on the Billboard album charts, with the theme song, which band member Rick Nielsen inexplicably hates, reaching number 36 on the rock charts. Director Robert Butler did not have much of a filmography when it came to theatrical releases. His most notable films at the time were live-action Disney comedies like The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes and Hot Lead and Cold Feet. However, he did have a distinguished career in television, directing episodes of shows that ranged from Gunsmoke to Lois and Clark. Even more notably, in the 60s, he directed the pilot episodes of both Batman and Star Trek. Sadly, mild popularity and a competent director don't give a lot of staying power to movies that were never intended to set the world on fire. Up the Creek is fun and diverting, but it isn't profound or even profoundly original. The jokes are sometimes obvious, but usually funny. What's really endearing, though, is that for a supposedly raunchy R-rated teen comedy, without an actual teen in sight, the movie is strangely inoffensive. Cute, even. The loser heroes are always fun to watch, and you really root for them. The snooty villains are hiss-worthy and easy to hate, right down to sharing the same cologne. There seems to be a variety of R-rated movies aimed at an audience just entering their teen years. Up the Creek is right up there with them. In fact, it was released just 3 months before the introduction of the PG-13 rating. Despite some nudity, I'm pretty sure this would have come down a rating had it been released later. Would that have helped? Not sure. Sometimes it's forbidden fruit that tastes the sweetest. Now somehow I've made it this far without mentioning the film's secret weapon, Chuck the Wonder Dog. Bob's dog Chuck joins the crew on their trek to the race and rises to be one of the most valuable members of the group, usually as Bob's expressive, simpatico pal. At one point, Irwin is kidnapped by the military team, and it's up to Chuck to explain, via charades, where he is. The group consensus, at one point, is merely that Irwin is naked, causing them to chuckle, showing how they take serious news. But still, this Wonder Dog earns his title. Should you still watch it? Heck yeah! If you don't smile once the title song starts, then maybe you shouldn't. But if you do, you're on the right wavelength for this silly, funny, and exciting movie that could only have been made in the 80s. The cast is fun and talented. Heck, this guy wrote a Peter Bogdanovich movie. The situations are sufficiently goofy, and the race itself has some genuine thrills. So if you want 90 minutes of mindless fun, head up the creek. Just don't forget your paddles. That would be a cliche. Do you have a favorite undergraduate slob movie? Let me know down in the comments. and like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.